Hello everyone and welcome back to a new lesson. Today we will talk about the motion graphics mode in Unreal Engine. We will take a quick little tutorial and most importantly we will learn how to import SVG files. I have a history with motion graphics. It was the third thing I learned after graphic design and video editing. After Effects is one of the programs that fundamentally changed how I learn things. It helped me to design so many cool things in the past as a VFX artist. I also got introduced more to 3D visuals, and I'm truly excited to see the motion graphics mode coming into Unreal Engine with all these features. So if you open Unreal Engine 5.4 and open any empty project like this, welcome to the dark side, go to Edit, Plugins and search for SVG. This will show us the motion design and SVG importer. Go ahead, enable both, restart your engine and open the dark side again. Now, what we need to do is to click on this nice new button called motion design, and from here we can click on create defaults. This will create for us a default scene route, a directional light, skylight, post-process volume and a cinematic camera. When you click on spawn, this will create these actors for us. If we go to the motion design outliner, so this is a new outliner in addition to the outliner we have. This is improved, and from here you can lock and unlock movement of objects and more. Next to that we have the operator stack, and in here we have modifiers and animators. We will talk about these soon. Below that, details. So when you add any actor or element to your scene, you can change its details from here. Then we have the sequencer, remote control and basic operations, and the main toolbar with more important but also basic operations. Now, if you look here on the left, we have the 2D shapes, 3D shapes, actors, meshes, cameras, and lights. Starting with the 2D shape, if we click, for example, on rectangle, and I recommend for you if you click and play with all these buttons here. Now, when we click on any one of these guys, you're gonna see a red grid, and you can click and drag your mouse to add a new element to your scene, and in this case, it's a rectangle. And I'm gonna add an element like this. I will click and move this element to the corner. Imagine this is maybe a lower third, and if you click on the orange buttons here, you can make it bigger and smaller. Now, when you hover your mouse on top of the rectangle, you're gonna see 4 circles with circles inside them, and these are very cool. So now I'm scrolling with my mouse to see better what's happening, and I'm gonna now hover my mouse here and click. This is now enabled. Now you can click and drag. Move your mouse left and right. With the middle mouse button, you can pan your camera, just like Unreal. So here, I'm gonna do the same. This is also an option. You can change how the shape is being made. So that's really, really cool. This is the lower third now. If you go to actors, we have text actor, and you can add a text actor. So click on it. Let's just type text actor. This is so cool in the Unreal 5.4. So under motion design font, if you click, you can see so many fonts, and most likely these are the fonts on your PC. So now if I click and move this here, move it a little, look at that. If I don't want shadow to be casted on my mesh here, the rectangle, I can simply go to the material part when I click on the actor and go where it says use unlet material. Now we don't see the font behind it because we need to change the color of it. So click on the font and let's find the color. Under style, when you scroll down, you can see color and you can change this to whatever you like. And we have geometry options to extrude, to change the bevel type, and to see what's happening, we can exit our camera. And again, this is something I like about creating the default camera. If I try to move, I cannot move. I can just zoom in and out to see exactly what's happening. So that's very, very good. So I'm gonna click here to stop piloting the camera. Right click with my mouse and press on ASDW to move around my scene. And now I can take this, I can increase the bevel if I want or decrease it. I can extrude it more. If you want to see this as a 3D shape, so now by the way, one of my shortcuts is holding Alt and left mouse button to orbit, but as you can see with the motion design viewport, this is kind of buggy. Sometimes I like to switch to the default viewport, where we don't have the grid, we don't have we don't have the rulers and that kind of stuff, but just temporarily I can orbit around my scene like this and see better what I am doing. So I'm gonna move this to this part. and I want to disable unlet on this actor here, so I can type unlet. So is unlet, now it's set to true, so I'm gonna set it to false, and I'm gonna cancel that. Scroll down again to where it says geometry and see my bevel. There is an option to outline. It will disable the bevel though. For the bevel, I can decrease the segments or increase them, and I can change the bevel type from linear to half circle and these other types. And now I can switch back to my motion design viewport, and it will automatically switch to our camera as well. Alright, let's talk about SVG actors. To add SVG elements to your viewport, you can go to actors, click anywhere on the screen to add an SVG actor. And if you scroll all the way up, you can see SVG data. You can click and select any SVG element you have imported in your project. And to import SVG files in your project, you can simply go to the web. So in future, I'm making some awesome cesium tutorials. I'm gonna choose this for today, and I might, if we have time, do this because I love my mouse courses. So we will see if we have time. Now, once you actually, let's download it. All right, now I'm gonna open the location of my file, and here I have in my folder where I've created the project, I simply made a new folder called it downloads, or maybe I can call it SVG. And here I have my files. It doesn't matter where the location of this file is, by the way. What you need to do now is to select the file you want to import. In this case, let's say this watermelon, and go to the engine, press Ctrl space, go to the content folder, and here you can create a new folder. So right click to show this menu, create a new folder, call it SVG if you prefer. And here, for example, I'm going to go back to my Explorer, click, drag here simply, or I can click on import and locate my files as well from here. This is actually doesn't show them. You need to go here, select your files, click open, and that's what's up. Another way, you can simply click and drag and add the file or the SVG file in your scene. Now let's take a look at the details panel. Here, I'm gonna click between these two menus or panels and move this a little. And as you can see, this is expanding. And this is the names of the layers within your SVG file. Right now, I'm gonna ignore this, but this is very important to pay attention to because you're gonna see it actually later here. All right, now we have transform just like all other actors where you can move the location of the actor and it's not moving the location. So we should do that from here for some reason. Yeah, if for any reason, whatever you just saw, it can be a bug. So press Ctrl Z and do it again. So transform to move actors on the X, Y, and Z. You also have the render mode 3D or 2D. We have the ability to extrude the object and things here. So we're gonna take a look at that as well. You have the scale, so you can make this bigger or smaller, and it's separated from the scale here, by the way. The scale here is kind of different if you select these elements individually. So this is the scale. Now we have extrude type, and we have here three options. We have none, so no extrude. Then we have front face only, then front back mirrored. Let's go to a 3D view so we can see what's happening. I'm gonna click here to stop piloting my camera, press F on my actor, rotate around it by holding Alt and left mouse button to orbit around the actor, then press F again, and as you can see, this actor have no thickness, just like a plane. If we go to extrude type and go to front face only, this will give some thickness to our actor. Very cool. Now, I want to use another actor with more elements so we can see what's happening better. And let me get rid of these here so we can have a clear scene. And I will switch back to my camera. I will press Ctrl space and I will go to cesium. So click and drag now, add the logo here, and I can increase the scale or bring it forward on the X axis. It's up to you. And I'm gonna decrease the scale a little bit. I will increase the extrude a little bit as well. And something I'd like to do is to go to rendering, SVG eyes unlit, and set this to false. So I want to see my object affected by light. So right now we have a directional light, and if you press Ctrl L, you can change the direction of that light. Now, additional options we have on our asset here are these. I'm gonna cancel and move here, find a nice angle, and let's play with these settings. So you have shapes offset. This will offset the shapes from each other like this. And look at that. Here we have a duplicate. And I will show you how we can clean up our SVG data as we go. So this is a way to find assets on top of each other. If you want to see like to expand your SVG file, see how many layers there is and like what's happening. That's one way. And you have bevel distance if you want to bevel your actors, but it depends on the clarity of the SVG file and what is beveled, what is not. So you need to also be careful with this setting. So I'm gonna like set this to a much lower value and we can still see the bevels. And yeah, it's not bad. It's actually good. It gives like, it makes edges react to the light. So this is with bevel and this is without. Massive difference. So out of the box, this exists for our assets. And there is actually so many other operations we can do. I'm gonna cover this in future lessons, but if you go to operator stack, you can add modifiers such as bend, bevel, boolean, mirror, and so on. So very cool stuff here. And if you want me to cover these, please let me know in the comments which one of these tools you want me to cover. If there is something specific or if you have questions, it would help me in coming up with ideas for you guys and make these awesome videos. Now, let me show you some stuff. Right now, the actor itself, there is no way to select these assets individually. There is a way to do that, but there is a couple of things we should know before we convert this into, well, we need to click on split, but there is some things we need to know. In order to know what to know, I'm gonna just simply make a duplicate of this for now, put it here on the tab, and I will click here and I will click on split. Notice that this is the actor we splitted and now it has a triangle where we can click and view these individually. So what I can do if I want to delete these, I can press Alt and Control and click and I can drag a marquee selection like this, select these and delete them. If I want to do that again and I want to add something to my selection and I'm holding Alt and Control now, it will select that. So if you want to add to your selection, press Shift in addition to holding Alt and Control. So now I'm holding Alt, Shift, Control, click, drag, and it will select all these together. Ctrl Z to undo. Now, I can click on one of these actors and just simply copy the x-axis or just simply click on all these guys and set the value, the location on the x-axis to 0. And they are now all perfectly aligned. And now I can make this logo, well, slightly less 3D, but here is something you should know. Right now, after we made this into a group, a split, it's gonna be really difficult to, well, change the extrusion on all these. But also this is kind of cool where you have the extrusion on your elements individually and you can animate these. So I'm excited about the motion design tools in Unreal. So let's say here we've made a mistake. That's why we keep a backup of our file. And from here, I can set the extrude to 1, set the shape offset to 0, delete this. Wait, so if I want to delete this and instead of selecting here because it's gonna delete the assets individually, I can click here, press Ctrl Alt D, and it will select all the children of this asset and I can click on delete. Now I'm gonna click on this actor, make another duplicate, just a backup, and set it on the 0, 0. Now I'm gonna press F to focus my selection, and if you remember, if we change the shape offset, we need to delete like some of these cesiums. So this is one way. Now I'm gonna click on split, and this mesh here doesn't have the same options we had earlier. So in the future lessons, we're gonna cover some of these options here, but this is why we keep a backup. All right, now I'm gonna click here, click on one of the letters here because we have duplicates, hold Control and click one, there we go, and delete. To make sure we can click on one of the letters and just move them around and we should be good. If you want to change any of these settings on the letters here, you can go to operator stack and under bevel, you can increase or decrease the bevel. So I'm gonna click here, copy the same value from here and paste it here. So we go back. I'm gonna press F and move this a little bit here, move this on tab. Maybe I want to make this more, so I can increase the extrude. And notice, like when I'm holding Alt and rotating the camera is kind of annoying, so we can switch always to the default view so we can move around the asset if this is the view you are used to view from. Now, this lesson can be really as long as much as you want, but there are a couple of things I want to focus on before we wrap up. The materials. So if you click on an actor, and I'm not sure if this is a bug or something, but if you click on create with material designer and just let's make sure we have this selected again. Create material. So for whatever reason it didn't create it on the first place, and now this inverted our faces here. So this is something to be aware of. And there are some geometry tools that we can take a look at to see if this is fixable. Now, if you want to change the material from like a material to something else, I can click on the material designer, and this is one of the new additions here. So the material designer, if you close it, you can find it here, and let's just click and drag. It looks like that. So here you have what type of material this is. Is it a surface or a post-process? What is it, translucent? Is it opaque? And so on. So we want this material to be opaque, and here you can set the texture. So you can select any texture if you have textures in your project, or you can right click and change the type of layer. In my case, I just want normal solid color, and there we go. It added another layer for me. Maybe I don't want that, so I can delete that layer, and I click on my original layer and type here texture, right click. Oops, it's not working. Now ideally it should work if we change it, but it's not working. Usually here you can set any element you want. That's fine. So let's add a color again and delete this texture here. And for the color, we want to have the same green color we had. And there is one way to do it. You can simply copy the original green and it's assigned. I will select the color here. I can simply paste the value I want here, the green value. Something is off, so let's click on the actor again. So see if we can change the value. There we go. This is one way. Another way, you can open the logo you want to change or you want to pick color from. Open the color picker, then click on the eyedropper and pick the exact color you're looking for. So click OK. We can close these. And now if I want to fix the mapping of the face here, or the face it's inverted, we can go to the modeling mode or press Shift 5. And if you don't have that, go to plugins. So edit plugins, then search for modeling. Modeling tools editor mode. Now, when you have your mesh selected, you need to go to mesh, triangle select or edit, and select the faces we want to change. In this case, I prefer to use triangle select. So I'm gonna cancel. Let's put the material designer here, cancel the triangle edit. I will go to triangle select, and I want to select these faces. So I can click anywhere. I can click on select all, and I can click on invert. Click accept. If that doesn't work, sometimes see if you move the mesh a little bit and it should help. Now, in my case here, if I move the mesh too close, there is some operations happening between the meshes, or like something is weird happening between this mesh and this mesh. So if I take this outside, you can see now it's looking good. If I move it inside, it will get corrupted. And not inside, like the moment it starts intersecting with our actor here. What I'm thinking about is collapsing the mesh. So I'm gonna go back here, right click this, and see if there is any option about the mesh itself. So disable modifiers, remove modifiers, and add another modifiers. We don't want that. We simply want to apply the modifiers. Let's see if that's possible. There is nothing we can do from here. So in this case, I would really advise not to change your objects into materials for now. Perhaps we can make another tutorial after I debug this exact problem why this is happening. But what I did earlier is I simply kept things as they are. So I'm gonna make another copy, and I will click on my actors from here. So I'm gonna expand my menu and click anywhere here, then click here, and then move this where I want, like so. And from here, under the operator stack, you cannot change these individually because we didn't split our actual S file. So when you split your mesh, you don't have the option to change the edit geometry and so on. So this is why we keep a backup. So one of the final options we can take a look at is that when you click on your actor, right click, we have SVG importer, consolidate SVG actors. Click on it, and right now we can see this changed again. We have the coloring, separate colors, single color. Then we have an option to make this lit or unlit. And then we have all the different colors on our mesh. And for this color here again, let's see if we can change the color. Yeah, we can. So let's press Ctrl space, go to SVG, find the logo again where we need to pick our color and pick the color. Click save and click OK. So I'm gonna switch this back to not lit mode because I want to see the effect of the light. And now, if I click on operator stack, we don't have any of the stacks here anymore because they have been applied. Alright, now looking at our mesh, I'm orbiting around it. It's looking very cool. If I switch this to single color, it will change to a single color, separate colors for separate colors, and we have different colors for each letter. So I hope you found today's lesson useful. As you can see, there are so many options and so many cool things we can do in Unreal. I really look forward to see what questions you have. I think some bugs we faced today is because this is still very new, so be patient with it. Look forward for future updates, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.